Hi, everyone. I'm Maureen McGuire, Senior Vice President for Advancement at CHR. Welcome back to the Real Life, Real Hope podcast. We have some very special guests today. We have Nicole Crenshaw and Annelyse from CHR's FFT, that's Functional Family Therapy Foster Care Program. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Real Life, Real Hope podcast, brought to you by CHR.
So let's start. Nicole, Annelyse, just tell us a little bit about your careers, what brought you here, and what is your role with the foster care program?
We are family recruitment coordinators. Our role with CHR and with the FFT program is to license and train and recruit parents. So what we do is we go out into the community and we just try to make connections with churches and organizations in order to get the word out for our need for families. Then we, when we do find families, we have to train them and we, do all the documentation and background checks, things like that. And then we do the matching as well. So we go out and meet the children and we match them with families that we feel are good for them.
Great.
And I've been at CHR for about 11 years now. So I have previously worked in foster care, coming to CHR, being able to transition into the matching component with the children was just an amazing kind of putting all the pieces together. So in addition to what Annelyse mentioned is doing the trainings, that's really the first step to, aside from the application process, the first step to parents' journeys on fostering children in need, whether, they've been through some type of trauma or neglect. Being able to help make a difference and give the parents the foundation as they start this process, teaching them what type of behaviors, just, providing them with more resources as they become foster parents and welcome children into their homes.
Fantastic. Annelyse, can you tell us a little more about the FFT foster care program and how it works?
Yeah, sure. So it stands for Functional Family Therapy. And so what we are trying to get away from is, when foster children would come into the homes, a lot of times we would send them to individual therapy, right, to work on their problems. So we're trying to have the family and the child work together as a team to teach the parent ways to work with the child when these trauma triggers happen. So really the best way to individual change is through family change. That's the whole thought. So the program, it runs for about 6 to 9 months typically, that there will be a family support specialist, which is like a case manager, as well as a therapist in the home on a weekly basis, working with the foster child and the foster family together as a team. And after that, then it goes down to case management, but you always have them there to support you, right? So if problems come up, then they can always come back into the home on a weekly basis. So I always like to tell people it's a highly supportive program. And there's also on call as well, 24/7. So if after hours something arises, there is that support of a therapist to call as well.
So Nicole, I know the service area is around Willimantic. Is there a need for foster parents in this program and in that region?
Yes, there is a big need for children who are looking for and in need of a home that can provide stability, guidance, support, supervision. We have so many children who might be in a residential, a hospitalized setting, or need to step up from like that regular kind of DCF level of care. So there's a need in the Windham County, Willimantic area. So it's, kind of that call to action of families and the community to reach out to us. Before you had children who were placed out of their catchment area, you might have them placed 2 hours away. Prior to that, they were involved in sports, attending school. They had a coach. They had mentors, churches that they were connected to. But when they're uprooted because of, circumstances, unfortunate, that happened in their families of origin, they are moved out. So what we're trying to do in the department, partnering to get children back into their families, their communities of origin, I should say, so that it will really be that village that helps raise our children and help bring the families back together, that family unit.
And is there a particular age group that has experiencing the greatest need?
So I tell people between the ages of 11 to 17 years old give or take. We could see a little younger, may even see a little older who haven't graduated high school yet. Our teens, right now we really are trying to find families who are willing to help our teens. When you think of the impact that you can have on their lives, they don't have much time before they're 18 years old and they leave. So that's a small window that people have to make an impact. And, I think they get kind of nervous or scared, and they really aren't that intimidating. They just are looking for a family to love them, to provide them with structure. As much as we may think teens resist it, they do crave structure. They want consistency. They want someone they can rely on when they've been hurt so many other times from people who they trusted.
And as you said, until these teens are placed in homes, in foster homes, they're waiting in places like hospitals, yep, temporary kind of group settings. And that's not, ideal. You don't want to have a child mixed in with multiple other children who have other behaviors. So against that backdrop, who can be a foster parent?
So, most people can be, right? You have to be 21 and up, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
21 and up. And you can either own a home or you can rent a home. We do require all of our foster parents to have a car that's insured, because our children do have appointments, and it's just just what you need. And then we also require them to pass a series of background checks, and you can be a single parent, you can be a 2-parent family home. And we have all of our parents it's a very diverse group of parents, which is wonderful, because we have a very diverse group of foster children.
Anyone, whether single, a couple, we're looking for full-time foster parents. We're also looking for people who, they may say, I don't want to take on full-time, but I can help out when what we call is respite, or, when the traditional kind of working world per diem type of parenting. So if there's an emergency and we need help for 30 days, or we need just that short-term placement, we're looking for respite parents as well. So you could have children. You might not have ever had children, but we're here to support parents along the way. So it really is, anyone can become a foster parent if they just, kind of take that first step, call, and then we'll have some conversation and guide them along the way.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? What are those first steps? I know there's training and...
Yeah. So we have, the application process where they'll complete the application, and we do a series of background checks, references, different documentation that we'll gather. We'll conduct an initial home visit so we can come to the house. The main requirement is you need an extra bedroom in your home for the child placed in your house. So we'll have that initial home visit, but we also have training. So training is about, I'd say 4 to 6 weeks, virtual. Kind of something out of the pandemic is that we allow virtual training. So in the comfort of their home, we can do the foster parent trainings. And then from there, we do a series of visits where they're a home study. It's really just an autobiography on your life, what you've been through. Many times people have had experience with the department as children, or have, foster care's touched their lives in some way, shape, or form. So they make great foster parents, so they have real experiences. They're resilient, and they could teach our children how to become resilient as well. We'll map out the steps along the way so that they're not, alone, but we guide them through the process.
Great. And Annelyse, I think you touched on this a little bit. What kind of support does CHR provide to the foster parents?
So, yeah, like I said, a lot of support. We have, the therapist and the case manager are on call from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And like I said, after those hours, we do have another on-call therapist. So somebody is always available. We also have our supervisor who is highly involved and wonderful with our families. At CHR, we work with an APRN who can prescribe medicine to any child that may need it. And then, even Nicole and myself, we're very, very close with the families, because we are the ones who initially recruit them. So we create this relationship with them, and so they will call us as well. So it really is a big team of people who are there at any point in time. So
It's fantastic.
And it's needed, because parenting is difficult, and especially a child with trauma. So we know that, and we recognize that. So we always want them to feel that support. And also, and I will add that, so we are, we're contracted with DCF. So they also have a DCF case manager as well that's involved. And we do work with some, good DCF workers who are also, really, really responsive to our children. So, it takes a village. So.
Nicole, from your experience, tell us, what does it mean to a teen when they find a home that's supportive and loving?
So one story that comes to mind is we have a single foster parent who, when I was just kind of having dialogue with her, talking about the experiences, because she's taken in many children. She never plans to adopt, but now she's the third child in who she's adopted. But her second child, who teenager that she actually adopted, because that's kind of her niche, teenagers and then children who are LGBT or QI. This one child, it had been 3 months, and the child was helping her prepare dinner at the kitchen table. They were in the kitchen cooking. And then the child looked at her and said, "Do you know what today is?" And she's like, "No, it's, Wednesday, or just, any other day." They're like, "This is the 3rd month that I've been in this home." And just that impact alone, the foster parent was explaining, is they had bounced from so many homes. They've never made it past the 3-month anniversary. And that just meant so much. So, for our parents, we don't think our children are counting all of those. And then just that anniversary of 3 months that I've actually been in this house, this is the longest I've ever been in a home, just kind of touched her heart right away, and just, it melted her. So that's a world of a difference for our children, just that stability in a home and somebody who's willing to stick it out with them, to be there, through the ups and the downs.
And that's a really important, piece of it, is because once they do start bouncing, it's really, really difficult to get them to stop bouncing. So it's really nice when we see our parents sticking it out and kind of getting over that hump, because this is a new home for them. You're learning each other, and so it takes time. And with any child, right, they're gonna have behavior. So I love seeing that when they make it past that kind of that's what he called it, was his anniversary of making it over that. And so if when our foster parents do stick it out, it's so rewarding, and then you'll see that stabilization happen, and then a lot of times leading to adoption.
So through FFT, when you mentioned, doing the family therapy with the parents and the child, is there a role as well for the biologic parents?
Absolutely. So our program, that is our main goal, is to reunify our foster children with their bio families. Every child wants to be with their bio family, no matter what the history has been. It's just natural. They always, want to go back, and we want them there. So what we do is the case manager will work with the bio family kind of in the beginning, while the therapist is working with the foster family and the foster child, just to keep that relationship there with the foster child. And a lot of our foster parents are also involved with the bio families and can create relationships, just to have kind of a fluid kind of transition if they do reunify. And then once they're done with the FFT in the home with the foster parent, and they're ready to reunify and go back home, and sometimes this is a grandparent, sometimes it's a parent, sometimes it can be many different families, but a kinship home. So they will go back, they will then transition into working with the bio family and the child in the home once they are reunified, just to stabilize that as well, because it is a transition even if you are going back home. Right. So that's our main goal, is to get them back with their families, because that's where they deserve to be. But the sad piece is that sometimes there isn't a family to reunify with, or it doesn't work out. So in that case, we have had children who have been adopted, or just stayed with a foster family.
What's some of the feedback you hear from the foster parents about this being involved?
They seem to be very receptive to it. I mean, the program's only been it's a year old, right? We've only had it for a year. And what they like is bridging all the gap, connecting the pieces. Because that's one thing. When I initially talked to people and explained CHR as a whole, I told them it's the continuity of care. So when we have children who age out of foster care and they're adults, they can still be connected to CHR. So as we go back and think about FFT foster care, you have a prescriber, You also have a clinician, you have a caseworker, and they're all in home. They're all connected to the household, the family. So we're really having that continuity of care and support to the foster family and the bio family as well. So you're having outside kind of the connections that our children come with. We're forming new ones, merging the old ones all together as one unit.
If you had a message to someone out there who is thinking about becoming a foster parent, thinking about getting involved, what would that message be?
There's a need nationwide for foster parents. So even when we're out recruiting, I tell people, go in it with the intention of trying to help just one child. Because it can be overwhelming when you think of foster care. Oh my gosh, they want me to take in like 5 kids, 20 kids, be in there for 20 years. Just go in with the intent of helping one child. You've made a world of a difference in the life of the entire system and, just providing a need. And many times when people do that, they end up staying 2 years, 3 years, multiple years. I think our foster parent who's been with us the longest, she's been doing it for about 20 years. She started with the department, transitioned over to therapeutic, and now with the FFT program. So just go in it, give us a call with the intention of helping just one, and, we'll guide you.
And it's a process too. It's not like you call and you're, signed up right away and you're a foster and you're getting it's a process. And so you get to, we go on that journey with you. And of course you're going to have, fears and that I think that's reasonable. I think people just being a parent, right? And having a child, like that's very normal to kind of have those fears. So we kind of actually want that because, it is a big step. But I think that once you kind of, take that first step and you make that phone call and you go through that process, I think people feel a little bit more comfortable as we go along, and we're very open and transparent and honest with everybody. So I think that it's nice because we create those relationships with our foster parents, and they really do. They love us and they rely on us, and sometimes they even refer to the team. They're co-parents of sorts, right, for the children. So, and that's really what it is. We just want to support them, and we're just so thankful for them. I think one of my favorite things is to do the appreciation events because it's like a big family getting together. So, yeah, it's definitely rewarding.
Fantastic. So how do people take that first step? Is there a number to call? Is there a website?
Yes, they can visit chrhealth.org, or they can also call our recruitment line and speak with either one of us. We're the 2 recruiters, or a member from our team, so that they can speak to a live person, learn about foster care. Just take the first step of calling and we'll get you signed up to join one of our info sessions so we can answer questions or provide more information. But that would be the first step. Just make the call and we'll be here to help you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you proudly by CHR, where real life meets real hope. Visit chrhealth.org to explore resources and services. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Please rate and review and join the conversation on social media.